Alright, I guess this will be my second little video that's going to go on here that's not going to show up publicly. Alright, so I'm down here with all the Kirks and shit and fucking Reds down here just fucking Sawmill, Smoot. And, well, they all know who I am, which is good because I sent out signals to let them know who I am. Because I want to go back to this whole verifiable thing that they were tied in with temporary companies, temp services working at the mill itself. And so what you have is a verifiable chain of evidence that shows gang stalking. And I'm pretty sure some familial ties would look into it. Anyway, interesting thing I need to point out here is months ago, I went to someone's house. A friend of mine took me to his girlfriend's house to pick some stuff up. And they were asking me some questions about, that whole thing. And, well, guess what? As I'm leaving, out comes Thomas Wayne Kirk. He's apparently mad that I said that he was a rat. Well, here, let me explain something to you. When I was first arrested over this bullshit, or no, wait, maybe it was, no, it was later on. It was when I was arrested on the subsequent charge. Trooper Williams, Duckworth's brother-in-law, had me in the thing, and he was trying to talk shit and get all smart and everything, slapped me in the face. I told him my fucking drill sergeants hit me harder than that in fucking basic training. And he's like, oh, well, I suppose she asked for it, right? Who? Ashley Redden. No, we've only been friends. She never tried anything. I never tried anything. The only ones that ever tried anything was Leah, and like she tried to kiss me twice, and I was like, no, because you're underage. And he got really upset about that. And he mentioned other Kirks. They got really, upset over. Of course, there's the fact that Thomas Kirk did call Duckworth from his cell phone to Duckworth's cell phone. So, and he just lives right down the road from him. I might like bring it up on Google Maps or something for this video. And well, here's the thing. It didn't make sense. You know the discrepancies in the legal work and everything? Oh my God. Something that came out that I didn't even remember. When I wrote that letter to Lieutenant Deeds, I wrote it up as a timeline so that I could show the dates that I called, because all calls of law enforcement are recorded. So there should be something in a database somewhere with all these calls to him. And at one call, he told me initially that the feds had my computer because they found child porn on him. Well, bullshit. So I had actually gone to the federal courthouse and was like, hey, if you guys got anything, arrest me, please. And they were like, no, we don't. So I contacted them again. Anyway, so I ended up getting arrested, and I give him this letter and explain this whole thing about, catching, my Uncle Tommy, the snitching ass chummo bastard, trying to download child porn on my computer. And like I said, the video, he didn't get to actually download anything. I stopped him, because I was kind of curious what the fuck he was all typing in there and shit. And I had 2 laptops at the time. And when I did, I stopped it, and nothing got downloaded. And I don't even know what the fuck it was, but I did go kind of lie to Lieutenant Deeds and tell him I did see some shit, and made a nice argument that included everything but the fact that you have to assume the police are acting in good faith. Now, I'm bringing this up at this time because I'm going to assume the police aren't acting in good faith. None of them are at this point, and they can all suck a dick. State or federal, we already know that. Fucking Gilgerson lied. I'll get into that later. So, wow, there's this whole gang stalking thing, and all this thing about these guys trying to fucking, discredit my name and throw this Stromo shit on there. Look, it's been 20 years and I've still been fighting this shit. I've still been trying to prove my innocence, and they're still trying to keep me from getting this Ashley Redden transcript, or not the Ashley, but the transcript from the delinquency charges, because Ashley said that she was coerced by her mommy to cop in a prosecutor. Now, why would you have some shit like that trying to remove any context of the Kirks and put all this shit on Ashley if there wasn't something else going on? Now, I know. A lot of you guys have kind of laughed at the fact that during some interviews and shit, I said I kind of little sister to Ashley. Well, let me explain that to you, okay? When I first met her, about a couple days after I got like her showing up continuously at the mall, where I worked, and us talking, she mentioned that she was a self-mutilator. Now, self-mutilator is a clinical term for a cutter, and most cutters tend to be, the majority of them tend to be victims of sexual assault. Not always, but tend to be. So I kind of, like, wanted to get a little protective of her, especially when she told me she was worried about how, um, these 20-year-old guys and stuff would want to get out in the car and get them high and mess around with them in the back seat and shit. And some of her friends were doing it, and she didn't want to do it because she didn't want to get pregnant or catch an STD or was worried about her reputation. And I was really respectful of that. So I was kind of hanging out with her, like, is this thing to, like, be like a chaperone type thing to have her an excuse for not going in those vehicles. And look, regardless of what you think, I'm not a person who's going to sit here and tell you I got some kind of moral code. I don't really have a codified system of belief. What I do have is a belief in what is right and what is wrong. And for me, as an adult looking out for someone who is younger in a public setting, in a place like that, even though there's cops around that suddenly went walking through the parking lot, because they would have caught some shit. To me, that was the right thing to do. I had nothing else to fucking do, and to sit there and play chaperone, okay, whatever. And admittedly, me and her did get kind of close, not romantically involved. Don't take it that way type bullshit. I'm talking about as friends, because she basically spent like damn near 3 months every day at the mall. The mall was open, and I was pretty much there. And even when I didn't have anything to do, I was there hanging out with my cousin, and then eventually Raza. So it was just kind of one of them things. It's like, okay, whatever. And timing and shit just kind of, I don't know. But I'm not going to fucking try to explain it or fucking that bullshit. But I want you to understand, like, that kind of mindset. And then, like, for 20 years, damn near, they've been claiming this shit. Why was her charge dismissed? For one. For two, if I did try something, why didn't they get me with a sex charge? For three, everyone talking about this goddamn child porn charge, but you forget I wasn't convicted. I went to federal prison for a gun. Based on that fucking psych evaluation that Kristen Keller fucking falsified by not turning over the three of the 5 things required by state law. And guess what? Judge Berger hit it. She covered the whole fucking thing up. That's why they wouldn't allow me to call witnesses. They wouldn't allow me to bring evidence. That's why I wasn't allowed to even talk about the freaking state law. That they should have, that they were required by U.S. versus Midget, or Midget versus U.S. From the 4th Circuit, that they were supposed to review. And why the 4th Circuit even ignored that shit. So you know what? At this point, I'm just going to assume they're all corrupt. They're all fucking corrupt. But there's other questions that got to be asked, because if they're corrupt and there's something going on here beyond me, what are they covering up?